Oh, Tilly. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
So, how's your reflection gone following the last one? What have we got?
It's all coming together slowly. I can feel. Last lesson, to experience different scenarios of level of talk through.
Okay.
Listen to what's being said and use Q&A to solve an issue pupil might have. I mean by that is just like listening to what you're saying and just interpreting what you're saying. And then questioning answers to get.
How did that work for you then?
That what I like last lesson when I asked if you'd be a bit of a really strict.
A bit more testy.
Yeah. And just use probing questions to see whether I could get you to change your mind or agree.
So in terms of taking that forward, what's next on your agenda?
I don't need to look at that. I had I've been thinking in my mind, this briefing, when you first, say on a lesson, you ask the pupil what they want to do, what they like to do today, and they say they want to do, say, crossroads.
Yeah.
And you ask them what objectives or targets they've got, or how do you think they'll plan?
Yeah.
And how much help do you want from me? If they turn around and say, yeah, no, sorry, let me revert back.
Okay, good. Take your time.
If you ask them questions on what they did before, say, what skills do you think you could take from previous lesson into this? And they might say, oh, well, I used MSM routine last time and I did it really well. I'm really happy with it. Then if they say, and then you ask them how much help do you want from me, and if they say, can you explain it to me, crossroads, would you then, in my head, what I was thinking, I laid in bed last night thinking of this, because they've told you that they are really happy with MSM routine, would you leave that out and concentrate on just the bits what matter on the crossroads? So I was thinking, if you go through MSM again, they might think, well, I've just told you that I know that, so why are you telling me?
Well, they might. I suppose it depends, doesn't it, on what level you're doing it. If you've had that conversation and they're saying, well, yeah, I'm fairly happy with that. What might you say then? You know, just to make sure that we've set the scene properly and that you're giving the learner what they really and truly need.
Well, so you could say, well, what is the MSM routine? Can you remember it?
You could do. You could. You know, tell me about it. Or how might you apply it here? Or you could, you know, when you're looking at determining the level of help, I think this is critical, that we do it so that the learner is getting the level of help that they want and not the level of help that we've decided we're going to give them. And that's critical, I think. And if you really want to help a human being get to where they want to be, you've got to try and do it as much as you can on their terms. So it's not a case of, well, look, I'm going to talk you through it, or I'm not going to help you at all. There might be a whole range in between, maybe.
Yeah.
So you can maybe just take a moment to examine the possibilities. And you say, well, what do you mean? I said, well, look, I could talk you through it fully, or I could just give you the odd prompt. We could just leave you to have a go at it on your own. And then, you know, just jump in if there's stuff wrong there. We could do that while we're on the move, or we could do that while we're stopped. What would your preference be? I'd just throw it back to them. The leadership ball needs to go back to the learner.
So if they said, I want you to talk me through crossroads, everything, but you know that they know about the MSM routine, would you do that? Would you start saying, right, what you're approaching this crossroads on the main road, what's first thing you'd check? Would you go through all that emitter signal, or do you think?
Well, it would depend on the learner, wouldn't it? What does the learner want? That's the key thing. And it doesn't matter whether that's a learner driver, whether that's somebody on part 2 on fleet, or on part 3 training, or whether it's somebody on the exam. What does the learner want? What do you want from me? And if you go, well, I'm not really sure. Oh, what do you know? So all right then, you know, here's some options. So and you're making them make the decisions rather than trying to second guess what I think you need. If that makes sense. And we do a lot of that. We do a lot of that. You know, right, this is how it's going to be. And you're not necessarily working in a way that suits the learner. So I mean, how do you think you might, with that in mind, how do you think you might begin to talk about that?
Probably, well, when you said how much help do you want from me, they might say, oh, I don't know. I say, well, do you want me to talk you through it, or do you want me to prompt you, or do you want to have a go on your own? Or?
We see the thing is with a learner driver, if you say what level of help do you want from me, they're not thinking, oh, I want a full blown talk through, or I want prompted practice. They're thinking, well, a bit or a lot.
Yeah, they're not going to say I want a full. They're just not
No,
going to
they're
say
gonna
that.
go,
Are they?
Could you help me a bit?
And then you've got to win. Sort of like, well, I could try you through it.
Should we
prompt
try?
you,
Yeah. And then it always, should we try that and see how it works? And then when you've done it, how was that for you? Oh, I felt you helped me a bit too much there. Or, oh, I didn't think there was enough help. And you're just doing it the way you would normally. And I think if we can free ourselves from all this idea that it has to be this, followed by this, and just wrap it around.
I know that's what comes into my head when you're worrying, thinking, if I don't get exactly what this, and this, and I miss some out, you're doing your job wrong. For some reason, I don't know why, you feel as though you've got to get every single detail out to that learner, or they're not going to learn.
Again, cast your mind back to former jobs you've had. Did you get everything perfect all day, every day?
No.
What did you do when it wasn't right?
Well, you tried your best. You tried different methods to try and put it right, and if you couldn't do it, you might involve somebody else.
So, but you didn't beat yourself up because you didn't get it perfect all day, every day.
But you ask loads of questions about it to see whether you. Oh, that's it. Yeah, I found out the reason why. Or you start searching for information, don't you?
Yeah, you might get a little bit of information from, I don't know, watching a YouTube video on something. You might get information from talking to somebody who's done the job less time than you, somebody who's done the job more time than you, because sometimes fresh people coming in have new ideas, and you eventually find a solution. Well, your job's not to fix everything immediately, not like right there and then and be absolutely perfect in everything that you do, because you're just new at it, aren't you? Takes time to bed in. Your job is to help a learner driver get to where they need to be. That makes it easier if you just, all right, let's have a little chat about how we might do that. Let's make sure we're both happy with what's required of us, and then we'll crack on.
Yeah.
That's the way the world works. But for some reason, we think that maybe we can do that a different way. That's you've got to work in a way that works for people. So in terms of how you felt that the last lesson went, just to take you back to that, do you feel that it's helping in your development?
Yeah, because it's making me think more about this question and answers, and listening to what you're saying, and then in future pupil. Yeah, when girlfriend's at car, I'm always imagining that she's pupil now. I know she's not driving, but I'm always asking them questions. What's your targets for today? What do you want to do today, or so and so? How do you think you might do that? What about your previous experience? So I was thinking we'd turn it round this morning. I was thinking, saying, what do you want to work on today? And if you would have said turn it road, I'd have said, what skills do you think you could take into turn it road, what you've learnt before? And they might say, clutch control. Why do you think clutch control would be good for this lesson? Because you've got to keep it steady.
Yeah.
Stuff. It's been running through that.
Well, yeah.
That were running through my mind last night as well, just going.
Well, that's the key thing, isn't it? You're helping the person to see what they've done before might help them.
Yeah.
Because they might not even realise that there's a connection, They might not think that there's a connection between reversing in a straight line and doing a turn on the road. They just might not see the link. Sometimes they can. So in terms of what do you want to do with today's session?
I want to run it as if it was a proper lesson, and just start off with that introduction and what objectives or what specific targets you've got, and what experience you'll fetch into the lesson, and how much help do you want from me, and
okay,
and that, and just run different scenarios.
What, different lesson scenarios?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we'll do that. So, well, I'll just play the role of a learner driver who would be at that level, and probably the level of knowledge that learner driver would have, to try and make it as real as it's humanly possible to be.
Yeah.
Which is what happens on the Part 3 exam. The examiner will have a bank of knowledge in his head. This is what I know, this is what I don't know. Yeah. Because at this stage I wouldn't know how to do that. So your job's just to help them along the path.
So when he gets it can, he says, pleased to meet you, Darren, this is well, I don't know if I'll say that, but my name's Simon. I've had so many lessons with my previous instructor. We've done approach and turn left and right, and now I'm ready to merge right. But I've had no practice at all. If you throw questions to him, like you said before, and he answers them, he can't change his mind later on if he's.
Well, he can still get it wrong.
Will he be gobsmacked by that? Because that's what I am going to ask him loads of questions. Is he going to? Is he going to have had this? Are people going to do the part 3 similar to what I'm going to do? Nobody's ever done it.
Oh no, I mean we're not doing stuff that's brand new here. There's plenty of people who are going for part 3 and ask lots of questions and being very effective. And what it's about is helping somebody to learn.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what method you use, as long as you're helping that person along the path. That's what counts. The more real you can make it, the better it is. And this is the thing that gets in our way sometimes on part 3. We think, oh, he's an examiner. When he's answering us, we think he's answering as an examiner. He's not. Never is.
So how many questions would... If you were running off at mouth and asking too many, he's going to think that... It's not over-instruction, but this lad's asking too many.
What would a learner driver do in those circumstances, do you think?
If you were asking loads?
Too many questions,
they'd probably get fed up. In their minds, they're going to be thinking, the body language is part of it, like, they'll be like that, won't they? Oh, look at that. But they start wandering off. Because how many really important... From each subject, I bet there's about 3 really important questions.
Well, it's the key thing is to wrap around the person in this seat. And if you're watching and you're listening and you're responding to their body language, you're going to be... Because if he's thinking, you're talking too much, he's going to respond in a way that says, not verbally, body language, he's going to respond in a way that says...
Will he do that on purpose to start like into you?
Yeah.
Like if he starts looking around,
he'll behave like a learner driver would behave. If he's in the role of that learner driver, if you're talking too much, you're giving him. If you're telling somebody something they already know, they're suppressing yawns all the time on the hill. So you'll spot it in them. So, I mean, do you have any lessons in mind you want to do, or do you just want to start with at the beginning and work through some stuff?
So we start at moving off and stopping.
Okay. What is it you're wanting out of? What sort of skills are you looking to develop to do?
It's that question and answer again.
Okay.
Just putting it onto pupil rather than me thinking I'm just going to start running off and doing A, B, C, D.
Okay. Are we better off starting at the beginning end of the lessons, or are we better off starting at the end in terms of developing question and answer?
Question and answer is normally better when you... At the end, what are you on about the pre?
Yeah. When I've got more information, because at the beginning, moving off and stopping, I can print it and I know nothing about anything.
Yeah, so I
could be that learner. Yeah. That's not helping you develop your question and answer technique. I would have thought maybe. Yeah. So we might be better off starting at the higher skill levels, if you like.
Yeah.
So that I've got a bank of knowledge that you can dip into.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
Something like on the move, like hazard awareness or anticipation.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do that. Hazard awareness and anticipation, meeting traffic. That.
Okay. Okay, so we'll keep it simple at the start. My name is Bob. I've been having lessons with another instructor, and he's retired last week. And so your office has sent you along to do this lesson today. I've had about, I think it'd be about 18, 20 lessons with the other guy, and he said we were going to do anticipation and hazards is normally an early stage one, isn't it?
Yeah.
So which lesson did you have in mind there?
Meeting traffic, anticipation.
Now you won't get all of those as a subject. They don't lump them all together. So we'll just say
meeting traffic,
meeting and crossing traffic, and anticipation.
Yeah.
There you go. We'll leave it at that. Have a few minutes to collect your thoughts. Over to you.
Yeah. So, good morning. Let's just start a roll again. What was your name?
Bob.
Bob.
We'll keep it simple to begin with. Let's get a badge.
Good morning, Bob.
Good morning.
My name's Darren. I'm going to be instructor for
all right.
Today. Do you mind if I call you Bob?
No, that's fine.
On your previous instructor, you rung me up and told me that you really wanted to cover meeting traffic and crossing path traffic. Are you still alright to go over that today? Do you feel alright about that?
I think so, yeah.
What is there any skills what you think you've already achieved in previous lessons what you might fetch into this lesson?
Well, I mean, I've done junctions before, and meeting traffic. I've done that on quieter roads.
Yeah, and how do you feel about that? Do you feel like you're quite confident with that?
Well, I was doing all right, I think, but he helped me a bit with that when we're doing it.
Yeah, and how did you feel about him helping you out time?
I was all right, yeah.
Did you feel as though you're getting to that stage where you might want, or just let me have a go on my own, or
Yeah, sometimes, but I think most of the time it was sort of all right. He helped when it looked like I needed help. And sometimes he offered me help and I didn't need it, I think, but I was all right with it, yeah.
So really today then, if I just talk you through it at the beginning, and then if as soon as I see you picking it up, or if I see any faults or anything, I might just prompt you.
All right.
And we'll have a question and answers.
Okay.
And just talk about it, and I'll give you plenty of help.
Okay.
So, how much help do you want from me then?
Well, we used to start with the lessons before where he helped me a bit, and then let me have a go once we thought I was maybe comfortable with it.
Yeah. So you're right to go ahead with that then, yeah?
Yeah, it's fine.
Is there anywhere where you think we might do this?
Well, he said we were going to do it on slightly busier roads than we'd done before. So I don't know. So I suppose we're closer to lunchtime, so maybe near where the schools are, because there'll be people picking up there. Okay, break it a roll there. How was that?
Yeah, it was alright, but I feel as though I repeat to myself, because when I asked you about the guided and prompting, I repeated myself again. So I said, well, what help do you want from me? We'd already talked about that, didn't we?
Well, it's all right. It's not
if that had been not testing, I'd have done that. Well, it's going to be a lot better than that. But if I'd have repeated myself a little bit, would that have gone down as a fault?
What do you think?
Not really, if it hadn't affected anything. As long as I hadn't run off.
Yeah.
And we've talked about it for a quarter of an hour about how much help do you want from me.
You've had a brief chat.
Yeah.
Now, that's where it needs to be. Now, obviously I've been reasonably helpful there, but he might just go, I don't know. But then you've got to offer some options. But that's... You're just having a chat with a guy. If you got this bit completely wrong, let's say you completely messed it up, does it matter? What do you reckon, in terms of the test?
It might do, and examiners might think, well, he's only just started and his preparation's not very good. I don't know.
Well, he might not. But you'll get the chance to recover. You know, if you sort it out on the move, the fact that you didn't brief terribly well doesn't really matter. Not really. So it's just a case of setting the scene, gathering the information that you need, and putting together a plan of how you might do it. Now, sometimes you get a lot of help from the guy, sometimes you're not. It's a fairly obscure one, isn't it? What have you done before we're meeting? Well, I've met some cars. Or you could get, there's all sorts of things you can do, isn't there?
Yeah. Could I have asked you, can you remember what the hazard drill routine is? Or would I expect, you probably already know. At that stage, you're gonna know that, aren't you?
Am I?
And that's assuming you're assuming because you're meeting traffic.
Should do.
Yeah.
So what routine do you think you might apply when you meet cars coming the other way, you might ask?
Yeah.
Oh, that's my MSM routine, isn't it? That's right.
So
now you know, don't you?
Yeah, because I don't know whether that instructor has taught you MSM routine until I ask you a question.
Yeah.
It's unlikely that it's unlikely that he won't have done, but you don't know, do you?
Well, you're about to go out. You're about to go out in over a ton of moving metal. To make assumptions that somebody can do things when you're going into a complicated meet situations might be a bit tricky. So you'd want to know, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
In the real world, you'd want to know.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to, put the spotlight in their eyes and ask them questions. But so, do you want to try a different scenario? We just bounce a few of those around and get used to the two-way process.
Yeah, we'll try again. But
okay,
what are you going to be now? Somebody what's never?
That's up to you.
Yeah, just let me get
just take a moment, that's fine. What we've got to do is we've got to set up an experience that you're going to learn from. Or that you might be able to test some theories that you've got and just think, okay, I wouldn't like, let me try that one. I want you to be this, and then let me see if I can get you to where I need to be.
Right then, good morning, Bob.
Good morning.
My name is Darren, I'm going to be instructor for today.
Alright, okay.
Are you well?
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah.
Be better if it was sunny, but can't have everything, can you?
No. Yeah, well, your instructor's a dentist today, and he's asked me to fill in for him, and he contacted me up phone saying you were keen to learn meeting traffic and crossing path of traffic.
Yeah, he said that's what we're going to do, yeah.
What level are you at that, are you?
Well, I've done bits, I think, but we've generally done it on quieter places. We've not done it with a lot of traffic about and stuff.
Yeah. So, on that then, how much help do you think you'd need from me today?
Well, my last instructor used to give me a full talk through of everything, explaining everything to begin with, and then we would have a go, and he would help me. He would help me a lot.
Yeah, and are would you be happy for me to do that, or do you want me to?
Well,
do you want anything slightly different?
well, how do you mean different?
Well, I could prompt you.
Right.
Yeah. If you feel as though I were talking too much, I could prompt you. It's all up to you. If you think I'm running off at mouth too much, and you think, oh, just shut up and let me get on with it, I could talk you through it.
Well, like just sort of give me little. What do you mean prompts? Like hints?
Yeah, light hints.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds all right. Could I try that?
Yeah, you can try that. Yeah,
All right.
No problem.
Breaking out a roll.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where do you think you're going to go with this guy?
What do you mean? Where do you think?
This learner. So with the little chat that you've just had, because we've changed the framework quite dramatically, haven't we?
Yeah. What do you mean? Where go? What places to do it? Or
No, just that.
where you going to go with question answer?
Yeah, because you've said to me, well, how? And I've said, well, my last instructor used to give me a full like lecture thing, like a brief, and then he would talk me through it all, give me loads and loads of help. He said, are you all right with that? I was like, what's my options? So you've given me that. Oh, well, I wouldn't mind trying that. Or I could have gone, no, I'd rather that you told me everything about it before we went.
Yeah, but because you prompted, could I ask a question then about the MSM routine?
Why not?
Yeah. Can you remember what routine you do when you're approaching hazards?
I think the key thing, is to just get yourself into the zone, and if you get off to a good start, that'll help. And if we just get used to just asking, listening.
You do, it's like just having a conversation, isn't it?
That's exactly what it is.
Because at the moment we're talking about driving, and because I'm learning it, it's going into unknown a little bit. Whereas when we're talking about golf, because I know it, you can you just feel relaxed when you're talking about it, don't you? But because it's into unknown, you're a bit.
Well, I think what happens is we get ourselves into the position where we think this examiner on this exam is going to try and trick us. He's going to, pull some stunts, and you've got to be on your mettle. You've got to be watching him. And if you don't do this and if you don't do that, it's just a learner driver that needs helping to do some stuff. So what you've got to decide is, between the two of you, what level of help you're going to use. How are you going to structure the session? Will this work? Will that work? What is it you want from the particular thing? What level of help do you want? And because the traditional model is, 8-minute lecture, followed by a full talk through, followed by letting them have a go on their own, we just seem to think that's always going to work. And the examiner will work with that. All right, okay, because that's traditionally how instructors do it.
If you got a moving off lesson, then in your ask question at the beginning, somebody had never ever moved off before, and they wanted a full talk through, or an explanation. The question Q&A won't work as well. Would that work as well in that situation? Because could you say what's the first thing you do?
Well, I think have a think about it. If you just went, I want a full talk through. If you just started giving a full talk through.
Like you start thinking clutch down, select first gear, set your gas, let you get out to biting point, handbrake. It's easy to get into that, isn't it? And they might not even be looking at you.
Once you drop into that mode, the first thing that happens is we stop listening. It's the first thing that goes out the window.
So if this were examination now, and you tell me you've never driven before, and you're examining and you say, pleased to meet you, my name's Darren, do you mind if I call you Bob? And you start, do you know anything about moving the car off? No. Well, this is what you do. You clutch down, select first gear, set your gas, put you on biting point. If you were like this, what do you think? What would examiner think of that? Would he just sort of, he's like a robot?
So there was a point there where you have a think about that though. The situation you just described there. Let's run that scenario and see how it works. So you've said that. What am I thinking as a real live learner? If
I was saying that?
If you cause think back to what did you say to me?
Is there anything that you know about moving off and stopping?
What do you need to do at that point?
Listen.
Did you?
No. I would just, because probably if I were doing it properly, I'd say, right, Bob, do you know the procedure for preparing car to move off? What's the first thing you do? And then if I see you struggling, then I'll just jump in and say, what about your clutch?
Just do it the way you would do with it's another human being sat next to you that you want to help get somewhere. Once you've asked a question, you must remain silent. It's the number one rule. If you've asked a question, sit quiet till you get an answer. You mustn't break the silence. The person at this side will break the silence. No matter who they are, the person at this side will go, I don't know. Or they'll go, oh, I think I've got a bit of an idea. Is it? Such and such. Or they'll go, oh yeah, I'll be watching my dad. You set the clutch down and it's into it. So just wait for the answer, because those three people are very different people, aren't they? I think it's the more I think about it, the more critical the listening part is. If you want to help another human being to do something, you must be switching these on.
Because that's what's saying with girlfriend's mum, when she sat in car and we were doing controls. Halfway through, she just jumped onto the biting point. You've got to get that biting point, haven't you? That biting point, she's going like that. You've got to get your feet right, haven't you? And in my mind, I'm thinking, don't interrupt her. I just sat there and I let her carry on, because the stuff what she was saying were right. I was just trying to keep the things what were not quite right. Sometimes
it's useful to interrupt, but you know, you just say, well, oh, the biting point, how do you think you might do that? And you're pushing somebody into reflective mode. I'd probably set the gas a bit and then I'd bring the clutch up to the biting point. Learning's happening all the time. This is going on. Yeah, that's probably what I'd do. Oh, okay, we can try that when we couldn't move off. And then off we go again. Then what would you do? So it's just all the time. And you might be hit sometimes with, don't know, not your job. What are you meant to tell me? Well, yeah, but I'm just seeing if I can help you along. Yeah, so we'll do this and this and this. How do you think that might help you? What benefit do you think that is? Then so it's just...
Because a lot of learners will put the nervous out so that they'll be expecting...
You have to also appreciate that we're learner drivers. Sometimes they're scared to answer the question in case they get it wrong.
I know, I'm scared to answer the question sometimes, and you've been driving for 20 odd years, because you're frightened you're going to make yourself look a pillock, aren't you?
It doesn't really matter, does it? Once you get yourself into the frame of mind where there's no hierarchy and it's just a relationship between two people, you can relax. And it's the one thing that you need is an environment where people aren't scared to make mistakes. And the reason you get in an environment where people, well, why do you think people get scared of making mistakes? What do you think happens there?
Because you'll judge them.
Possibly.
Yeah. They make a mistake, they think, oh, he thinks I'm crap and I'm not listening, I'm rubbish and I can't do it anymore. Girlfriend gets into that.
We naturally fall into that mode, human beings. So, was that useful? Did that help you to sort of clarify your thoughts, and what else do you want to do with that?
I think we should just get out and have a go.
Okay.
Yeah.
What would you like to do in terms of setting that up?
We'll go up into Chequerfield.
Okay.
So we do it again when we get up into Chequerfield, but I've just...
Whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
We just want to, in these early stages, we're just trying to get into trying to find ways of working that work for you, and that are effective, and that'll be able to, you'll be able to help whoever's in this seat at this side. That's different for everybody.
I feel, because I haven't learned it yet, but it's a feeling inside that I know what I want to achieve and I know where I want to be.
Okay.
I want to talk, and I want to make that learner so much at ease that they're going to think it's easy as they can, and basic stuff. I don't want to fill their heads with too many thoughts, because I'm just feeling, going back to when I passed, and you don't want too many thoughts in your head, or you just
sends you your head fried. Yeah. So okay, we'll take it up to Chequerfield and then we'll reset the seat when we get there. What do you want to do with the drive there? Do you want to have a little lie down? Do you want to do some work on some stuff? Or...
yeah, I'll do just some Q&A stuff.
Okay.
Just anything, if I see anything.
Okay, so just anything that's around?
Yeah.
All right then. So what level of driver do you want for that?
A driver what wants prompting, what's good, but they're just making little errors.
All right, so but nearly test standard.
Yeah.
That sort of stuff. All right then. And just general Q&A just to help get information out of me, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll just have learners what are all at test standards. Just pick and choose.
Well, it's a useful starting point. You know, when you're building the skills, there's no point in going in with somebody they're not going to listen, they're dead clumsy, they have problems with this, problems with that, and problems with that. That's not a useful starting place, is it, when you're just building skills? Well, that's, you know, we'll get to them.
Yeah.
Removing barriers. So again, we'll stick with maybe and Bob. Elliot, nearly ready for my test. Just for a general drive out to see if you can tighten things up for
Yeah.
me.
Are you in roll now?
In roll now. Go left out of the car park.
Why do you think it's important, Bob, to keep your speed down through car parks?
Well, there may be people all over the place, mightn't there? Someone
Yeah.
may be in one of them cars, I suppose.
Yeah. And if you were going too fast and somebody just walked out in front of you, what do you think had happened?
Well, you might run them over.
Yeah.
It's a bit steep here, isn't it?
Why do you think it's important to get your biting point bang on your M&L like that?
You may roll back. Yeah.
Do I need to give you directions or you just...
I'll tell you where I'm going to go. Next right.
Whereabouts were you looking there into that junction, Bob? You remember?
I didn't look at him before I turned, did I?
No. You think we're a bit wide?
I was, yeah. I do a lot of steering. I think I was watching that car that was coming towards me.
What can you see out right there, Bob?
It's a cyclist.
What's the first thing you're going to do when you see that
Check my
cyclist?
mirrors and
Yeah.
slow down.
Why do you need to check your mirrors?
In case there's somebody like close by me. You don't
Yeah.
want to brake and have them hit you, do you?
This cyclist in front of us, which way can you expect him to go?
Oh,
What? He's turned off.
well,
the
you
light.
don't know, do you?
Could go
Go
anyway,
right at the
couldn't
end of
it?
the road. No, you're not really watching what he was doing, was he?
See how your view's restricted to left here, Bob?
Can I go into this box junction this way?
Just out of roll here, Bob. I just had a mental block there when you asked me that. Yeah, if you know it's clear. Yeah, back in roll. If you know it's clear and your exit road's clear, yeah, you can go in. As long as you're not going to make anybody else slow down.
Oh, okay.
What could you expect behind this corner here, Bob?
Pedestrians, maybe?
Yeah, cars, anything. From here it's really busy. When you're driving down this road, Bob, where are you actually looking first? Are you?
Well, you've got to keep your eyes on people, haven't you?
Do you think it'd benefit if you tried to look as far as you could see to see what's happening in front of these cars? What do you think benefit that would be?
Well, I suppose I may be able to see a bit more, but you can't really see much past these cars now. Go right at the end.
What do you think could happen to these traffic lights? Have been on green for a while.
And they might change right now.
How do you think your speed was there, Bob? Is it that car?
It's
was
alright, I think.
You think it was a tad quick? It just seemed like it just braked a little bit too much.
Oh, I did a little bit, yeah.
do you expect here, Bob, in this left-hand lane? What do you think? Because that lane's
somebody
out.
might come up this way, mate.
Yeah.
I've seen them do that, yeah.
If a car had come up alongside of us now and tried to cut him, what would you do?
I watched my dad drive, he didn't let them in.
What do you think? How do you feel about them? How would you react if somebody wanted to come in?
Well, it's not cost me much time, is it?
No,
I might let them in.
Yeah. What distance do you think you need to keep between you and vehicle in front when you're moving slow and about to stop?
What, do you think I'm too close?
Yeah. Do you think you were too close there to that car?
I didn't, but you're mentioning it, so you must think it's too close.
Yeah. If you get too close to that vehicle, what do you think could happen especially if you were a learner as well, if you're too close? What do you think could
I might
happen?
frighten them.
Yeah. Could roll back as well, couldn't it?
Oh, I never thought of that, yeah.
Just out of roll.
Go on.
I hate this junction. It's terrible, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
When you're leaving roundabouts, Bob, especially when we were going left there, which mirrors do you think we need to check?
Oh, it's that one and that one, isn't it? Oh, I didn't check that one, did I?
Missed it, didn't you? No problem. It's an easy remedy though. Just got me to prompt you on next one.
Yeah, would you?
Yeah. Just out of roll.
Go on.
Probably not going to get roundabout.
Why not? No.
But
if
you
we
could
did
say
do-
that, couldn't you?
Next left. If we did do, how would I behave there, do you think?
Well, I'd be looking for you to see if you check it, and if you didn't check it when I thought you should have done, I'd have just said, what about this mirror, Bob?
Do you think I'm against that error rule? Do you think I'd be bothered about you prompting me?
Probably, yeah, you might do if you nearly test standing.
No. You asked me what do you want?
Yeah.
Do you want me to prompt you? Yeah, would you mind?
Yeah.
That'd be lovely. I'm not going to complain about it, am I?
You did that on purpose, that indicator.
I was coming off the roundabout.
Yeah. Do you think that signal what you give there, Bob, do you think that could give a false impression to anybody? You know,
They might have thought I was turning left in that junction.
See, I'm spotting stuff what you're doing, it's just getting that term in.
It's just practicing.
Yeah. I think I'm trying and fancy words, thinking it, and there's no fancy words to it, is it? It don't really matter how you say it as long as they understand you.
Correct.
Yeah.
Next road on the left.
Just out of roll, I didn't check to see whether you looked in that mirror. I'm guessing you probably never.
I didn't.
See, I did see that then, but I just left it. Like,
But there's a very good reason for a learner, in roll here, to keep that realistic. Why wasn't it focused here, do you think?
why weren't you focused there?
Yeah.
Was it because you were focusing on keeping your speed down because it was quite a tight turn?
No. What was the Mercedes doing?
You know what, I didn't see it.
He was hassling us at this side, right up close, and in this mirror.
And that's
For a
why.
learner driver, I'm going to be like, oh, what's he doing? What's he doing? So he looked like he was going to try and overtake us before we went there, I thought, what on earth are you doing?
That's the safety role. For instructor, you've got to check everything. You've got to be aware.
Yeah, but that would have alarmed a learner driver because he was very aggressive and very close.
Because you didn't check that mirror.
You spotted I didn't check it though.
Yeah.
Which is good.
If I wouldn't have checked behind, keeping my eyes up, well, there could have been a kid in there.
So looking at this though, so you've spotted I've not checked that. Where are you going to go with that? Let's assume I'm back in roll, and we're going to deal with that. So in roll.
Right, Bob. When you're approaching to turn left roundabouts or just approach and turn left, emerging left, which mirrors do you think you need to check?
Right, it's that one and that one, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you think that you checked that one on that last junction?
No, I didn't, did I?
No. So what do you think consequences could be, possibly, of not checking that mirror when you turn left?
Well, I suppose there could be people there and stuff, couldn't
Yeah,
there?
there could be a little lass on a bike or a lad. And then if you don't check it and you end up knocking them over, how bad you'll feel. So when we do it again, do you want me to just prompt you?
Yeah, that'll be all right.
Yeah. Are you okay with that? Out of the roll, yeah.
Again, like when you asked before, yeah, that'll be okay. But then, of course, you're not carrying through what you said you're going to. Is it worthwhile investigating why he's not checked that dormer? Because it's happened more than once now.
Yeah, because, well,
Do you see that car there? Oh, no. So there's a reason for it.
Why do you think you didn't check the dormer, yeah?
And it's always worthwhile involving the learner in a discussion about it. You know, you're giving me consequences, but that might be enough. It might, but it might not.
Yeah. Because the real problem, because I ain't got to, because I didn't ask you the question, why didn't you think? Because if that Mercedes, I didn't look, that Mercedes driver could have been going, if you're nervous and he's putting his fists up and everything.
They weren't happy.
And I'm just saying to you about this, you might not want to say anything, you might be that nervous. If it's a young lass and somebody's papping on at back, well, I'd be able to hear it, but if that happened on a young lass what were really nervous and frightened, I'm not going to know what happened.
I think the important thing is to get to the root of why is this happening? Is there anything else? Tell me about the drive over here.
I just felt a little bit, it just felt a little bit quick as well.
Okay.
There were certain times where it was that judgment a little bit too close to cars, maybe a little bit too quick.
Okay.
It was mainly that.
So you asked me a question, didn't you? How do you think your speed is? Fine. You happy with that? Yeah.
I know.
So I was saying,
But I know that it wasn't, so yeah.
So investigate further. So was it me speed that made me brake firmly like that?
It might have been observations, because I said to you, what?
You've touched on that, haven't you? You've talked about observations.
Yeah.
How did that go?
Well, I said to you, whereabouts are you looking? Are you looking at just that car in front, or are you looking further ahead? And you said, I can't see further ahead because at bend.
No, I just said I can't see further
Aye.
ahead.
Yeah.
Why couldn't I see further ahead?
Probably because there's not too much traffic in front.
Where would you have positioned the car if you'd been in the same situation as me?
I'd have got tyres and tarmac. When we come up behind that one in front,
Mhm.
I'd have just left a gap so I could see it road and his tyres.
And where else are you able to see once you're that far back?
You can see it outside a car.
You see up the road, you could see where you wanted me to look.
Yeah.
So I kind of see there because I'm too close to the car in front. And if you
yeah.
think about it, that was consistent. I was consistently too close to the vehicle in front. So you're saying look further ahead? Well, I'm looking as far as I can see. I am. Yeah.
So I should have said just, do you think you're too close?
Well, you felt uncomfortable. I knew you were uncomfortable. I could see it in you.
I know.
Given that as I got close to the car.
Because I was thinking, is he doing it he can't be doing it for real.
Everything we do is for real. I'm being that learner. So if you just deal with it with that learner, you were uncomfortable about it, bring it up. You were trying. It was good. It was nice. You were trying to, but you instinctively knew I was too close because I could see you giving it that every time I got close to him.
Yeah, I can. It's
So
just
just
getting
say, do you think this is the right distance back here? Yeah. Well, it's not. How far back should you be? You said. And
And then I'd
we've
just
never.
come in and say, have you had anything with tyres and tarmac where you can see?
It's maybe then go, oh, okay, my last instructor told me about that.
Or why do you think it's a good idea that you keep your distance so you can see his tyres and a bit of tarmac? Well, I did later on because you said he might roll back.
You're on it,
Yeah.
and I know you've spotted the fault, but you've not, if you like, convinced me to do it a different way. I think it's all right. Do you think the speed's okay there? Yeah.
We had that last time, and that's. I seem like I get a mental block when that happens.
Well,
Because you get
it
gobsmacked
throws
because
you,
you're
well-
expecting learner to know, aren't you?
But because I've done that consciously, I think that's okay. So, do you think the speed's okay? Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Why does he think the speed's okay? Because that's probably the way his dad drives.
Yeah.
So he's used to being that close to other cars.
So what questions should I have asked? Should I start to go, like similar on last lesson what we did, start asking questions about speed, how he feels about it?
Mm-hmm. Well, just replay it in your mind for a moment and have a think about, well, what else might you have asked? And let's have a play around with that.
What do you think's consequences of going too fast?
You get a speeding ticket.
Yeah. Do you think it could also make you rush stuff? That you haven't got a lot of time to do with other stuff like changing gear and...
I suppose it might, yeah. Yeah, I suppose it could, yeah.
How do you think you're going to get your speed slower then? Have you got a plan? Have you got a thought in your head?
I'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah. How are you going to keep your eye on it?
Well, I'll keep an eye on the speedo.
Yeah.
You get a bit of a feel for what speed you're doing as well, don't you?
Yeah. Do you feel like it were rushed a bit?
No.
Because it definitely was too fast, yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
And then did you notice that because it was too fast, you were coming up to that car, getting too close to it? You just made everything rush with your brakes and the car.
Right. Okay, just breaking it a roll. What's the cause? Do you think, is it the speed? Or is it my happiness to be close to the parked car? To the car I'm following? Or is it a combination of the two?
It could be a combination of two. You've got to ask loads of questions, haven't you?
It's tricky to not go on the other end.
Because if examiner's going to have... Is he just going to have one thing what's causing this?
Probably.
Well, it could, yeah.
Probably. He's not going to dance around it. He'll just think, okay, I'm happy to be too close to parked vehicles. Which then makes everything happen fast because I've not got time to do it. So my speed was actually all right if I'd been further back. It's that being too close that
So
creates
if I
the
just said
issue.
to examiner, why do you think you keep getting too close to these vehicles? Could the examiner turn around and say, I don't think I am, I think I'm all right? Could he say that?
Oh, it could. What would you say?
That's when I get a mental block again, starting to think of questions to ask. Because he automatically in my head I'm thinking he's going to be a bit of a bugger and he ain't going to...
No, not necessarily. He's got a particular thing in mind that's causing this.
Like, yeah, you could say, well, if you get too close to a vehicle, what do you think could happen if they don't put their handbrake on and don't get biting point? Then you might say that
Well, they might roll back. Yeah.
And if we're too close, your nice new shiny car is going to get a bump.
Oh, yeah. Well, that'd be his fault, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but if you'd have stopped, if you'd have kept your distance, then it might be his fault that he rolled back, but because you've kept your distance, he ain't going to run into you.
Oh, right.
Because you could be in that same situation.
Does that give the right message, do you think? Oh. So my good driving prevents his bad driving getting away. So you've just got to join the dots up in the head. It's a case of just, you could say, do you think it would make a difference to you being further away from these vehicles? I'm not sure. Well, what do you think the benefits might be? Or, when I'm driving, I tend to keep this, and I never have to rush like that. Oh. So the fact that everything's a little bit rushed, is because you're too close to that car. Or, do you think it's that? If you go, well, no, well, look, you are too close.
Yeah. Do you think it's a good idea for me now to start building these questions up in my head about all these different possibilities with PSTs? And because at the moment I'm thinking it's not there. Instead of just having them in my head, going over which question.
Well, it doesn't harm, does it? If you've got a particular issue, your job really is to find out what's the cause here, why is this happening?
Yeah.
And then investigate it, because what we tend to do is we play a 1-4. We say, right, yeah, he's doing things too quick, he's too fast. And there may have been factors, but to be fair, there weren't. If I'd been a little further back, everything would have been fine. I was just happy to be too
close. I
close.
think that's what it is at first. You might think it's fast, but
it
only feels fast because we're getting right close up, so you might...
We were actually only doing 20 miles an hour, which was perfectly fine for that circumstance.
So in that situation, then, if an examiner knows in his mind he's doing it because he's getting too close, if I keep banging on about speed, he's just going to lose interest, isn't he?
That's right. That's right.
So you'll see it in his body language, so you'll have to change your questioning, won't you?
Well, if you're doing that, but let's say you're with a real live learner, and that's not the problem. You're trying to fix it, and it's not that.
Yeah.
Where's it going to go? You're going to end up annoyed. Like,
yeah, you just...
Get off me case, man. Because it's not fixing it.
And then it could cause problems in other places.
Well, yeah, you can start losing pupils over it, and that's the biggest problem an instructor ever has. You're not being able to maintain pupils. So it's just having a dialogue that helps you to get to the root of the problem. If you assume, you're sunk. Because he's just sat there thinking, well, you're not curing the problem, so I'm just going to keep doing it over and over and over and over, because you've not fixed it. You might think you have, and you might have been giving me some lovely, lovely advice, but...
Is it going to be more Q&A on the second part, where he's nearly ready for test standard? What's this bus doing here? She's just stopped.
What do you think she's doing?
She's looking to see whether she can get by. She just stopped. Surely to God she can get by.
There's a boatload of room. An absolute boatload of room. But she's clearly an idiot.
I know, because where do they want you to... I don't know where they want you to park.
I'm tempted to give her a card. So see if she can get through the gap behind us.
Yeah.
That is appalling. My word, you have got to be kidding. We're catching this on camera, which is nice. Look at how much distance there is at the side of that vehicle. Do you know?
She's gone up curb now.
That is ridiculous. What's the bus number of that? 1406. Let me write that down. That's a level of incompetence that's beyond belief.
1406. 1406.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah, I spotted that, didn't I?
You did. So, before we were so rudely... I cannot believe she didn't think she could get through there. Dear me. Anyway, that's an aside. So, I've lost my train of thought now. Where do you want to go now? What do you want to do? How do you want to do it?
We'll do the meeting traffic.
Okay.
So we talked about it before, about meeting traffic, Bob.
Okay.
Are you still alright to go ahead with the plan, what we said?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
I'll prompt you.
Yeah.
And if you've got any questions or you feel unsure about anything, just let me know and we'll either talk about it as we're going along, or if you want to have a longer chat, we'll pull up at side of the road and have a talk about it.
Okay.
So are you all confident about that, yeah?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So, to start a roll, are we going to... Well, meeting traffic could be anywhere around this block, couldn't it?
Well, if we go left at the end of this road, there's always parked cars up there.
Oh, yeah, if we carry on all the way around
right.
Bend,
Yeah, all the way up the hill and down the other side, there's vehicles dotted all over the place.
Yeah.
If we then turn right at the end of that road, that'll take us up towards the big roundabout in the middle of Chequerfield, and there's always vehicles there, so we should meet loads of traffic. Yeah. That's the plan.
Yeah.
Ready to go?
Yep. When you're ready, move off. Is that got to be exactly... When you're saying, when you're ready, move off, that ain't got to be absolutely perfect, or when you're ready, move off safe, under full control. That's too much, innit? Is it just when you're ready, move off?
Leave parking. Yeah, when you're ready, drive on. So go left at the end of the road.
At the end of the road, turn left. I think once you get with your pupils, you won't sound robotic, will you? You'll just say, at the end of this road, just turn left. But at the end of the road, I'd like you to turn left. It's like robotic, innit? Right, Bob, what's the first thing you're going to check here? Yeah.
So is this a meet situation?
Yeah, this is a meet situation. Yeah, well done, you checked both mirrors.
What would I do if somebody came round now?
What would you do? What do you think you'd do?
I'm already in the gap, aren't I? So I'd probably have to just carry on. They'd have to wait, wouldn't they? I wouldn't reverse back, would I?
Now, if you're already on that side of the road, then you just have to check your mirrors and just ease off. But like this situation here, if you saw something coming over that brow, now what would you do?
Well, I'd slow down and let them through, maybe.
Yeah.
But on that one, I was already over the other side, wasn't it? There wasn't really anywhere for me to go.
See that car indicating there?
Oh, no, he's turned off, yeah.
Because he had his indicator on, do you think he, in your mind, do you think he were definitely going up there?
I thought he was coming past the parked car.
Yeah. You happy with this, Bob? Do you want any more help from me? Right, all right.
No, that's fine, I think, yeah.
You brake then, Bob, before you check your mirrors.
Oh, sorry.
Always check your mirror before you change your speed or direction.
I didn't think he was going to come through there. Took me by surprise a bit. Sort of forced his way through, didn't he?
Yeah. Remember your sequence, Bob. You come up to these parked vehicles. How do you feel now? Feel okay?
Yeah, I haven't had much to deal with, have I? I'll go round the roundabout back down this road.
I'm going to turn right at the roundabout all the way back round.
I'll tell you what, let's scrub that and go left. See if we can get some meat situations here. I get roll.
Did you check your mirror there, Bob?
Oh, I
That
didn't
car
know.
mirror's there.
I didn't know. I forgot.
Do you want me to prompt you next time, Bob?
Yeah, you can do, yeah. We'll go all the way around the roundabout and back down this road.
This mirror, Bob, here.
Oh, yeah.
Mirror again at that one, Bob, because that car pulled up there.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, well done. Check that mirror there, Bob, yeah.
I keep forgetting that one, don't I?
Why do you think you keep forgetting to check it, do you think? If you,
Is it that I don't see the importance of it?
yeah, what happened?
Go left at the end of the road.
That's
and I'll
something
pull
like,
over.
if some either learner said that, so even when you're saying it, it makes you jump. If a learner said that to you, you'd be like, blooming hell. In your head, you think they know more than what
Yeah,
you think they do.
of course it is. So, have a little think about the drive that we've just done.
Yeah.
What are the faults you've had to deal with?
Missed a few. When you come up to that potential situation where there could be traffic coming, you should check your mirrors straight away. You missed quite a few mirror checks, and I was just saying, well, I asked you if I wanted to prompt you, and then on that one there, when I said, did you check that mirror, I should have said, what happens if there's a little...
No, it's fine what you've done.
All right. Oh.
You know, but it's not working, is it? So what you're doing, I'm happy that you're doing that. Oh yeah, prompt me. Oh yeah, I forgot again, didn't I? So again, it's always in wrong.
And I said, why do you think you forgot it?
Yeah. So now you're on the money.
Yeah.
So why are we not checking that mirror? So you could just ask the question, why is it that you're not checking that mirror?
And you said it.
Is it because I don't think it's important? That's why. I don't see the relevance of it, so I'm not
doing it. And then I'd say, what? Well,
so now we could deal with it.
Yeah. So what happens then if you didn't check that mirror, Bob? What could you expect to be inside?
Oh, I suppose there could be, and on you go.
Yeah.
Or you might go.
Yeah,
So
could be a child on a bike.
That's it.
And what do you think could happen if you don't check that mirror?
I might not see them.
Yeah. And how are you going to feel if you did knock them off?
I don't suppose I'd feel very good. Now you're cured.
Yeah.
I'm going to oh yeah. So you've had a lot of mirror faults to deal with, basically because for the first time ever driving that piece of road, we haven't met anybody coming the other way.
I know everything we're bang on now.
It's just like, where is everybody? This is normally busy time down here. So anyway, never mind. So the faults are coming in that are not to do with necessarily the subject. I mean, you can't say that they are to do with me, but it's because that's all I've had to do. There's been no one else.
Yeah.
So I think it's, in terms of moving forward, what do you think the next step is for you?
I think it is learning these lessons and what certain questions I need to ask.
Okay.
Make sure that I know what question to ask if something arises like that. But
yeah. Is it worthwhile, do you think, just a suggestion, having a pattern that you work to? A set pattern that covers everything. Not that covers everything, but that leads you to do this, followed by this. So there's a, the way that it works in my head is, what are we going to do today? Establish the level of help that's, how's the lesson going to be? Here's how we're going to structure the thing. So we've got that little routine that we run around. I'm going to ask these sort of questions, then this. Then we're going to have a go at it. While we're on the go, I'm going to ask questions to raise awareness, and then deal with whatever comes up. Because you can't just sit back and wait for faults to happen and then plan in. But if you're asking the sort of questions, tell me what you think about this situation here. That's not over instruction. It can't be, can it? Because you've not instructed.
no, yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, what do you think that routine might look like? How do you think you would structure a lesson if you were looking at a basic lesson plan, not for a particular subject, but something that worked the same every time, maybe?
It's just, asking you what do you want to cover today? How do you want to do it? What's your objectives? What's your feeling inside for your targets? How much help do you want from me? And then that can open up an whole can of stuff. You want prompting? Do you want? And then just asking questions. I'm trying to pick faults up. It's there. It's just getting it all put into like a sequence now.
I mean, that's what we use. It's beginning, middle, end. That's a sequence that we use in here.
Yeah, because when girlfriend sits in car, I do it like that. I get this book and I'll say to her, "Good morning, Kim. Are you well? Have you had a good weekend? Can you remember what we talked about in the last lesson about what we were going to cover today? Have you done your workbook?" And she'll have done quiz and everything, and we'll look through. And I say, "Are you still all right to proceed with today's lesson? What we talked about Turnip Road?"
Yeah.
And then I ask her questions like, "What skills do you think you might need for this lesson? What you've done before? Clutch control. How do you need that? Because you keep your car slow." It's normal. And the job that I had before, I never used to shut up. I used to talk to people. It's probably still a little bit of nerves because I'm going into unknown.
Of course.
But I know once I get talking, I'm all right. But it's getting that.
I think once you just drop into the mode where you're just two human beings.
Yeah, because I feel as though I'm going to say something daft and it's going to be no relevance to anything, and it's going to make you look stupid.
If you put yourself in the role of the examiner, if somebody says something that's not really relevant, and it's the only thing they've said that's a bit daft, are you going to make a thing about it? Are you just going to let
Not
it go?
really. As long as you don't go on about it.
Yeah. They're looking at how you are overall, on balance. How is this guy? Yeah, his brief was a bit messy. But, we got the thing, but I committed those faults. He then fixed those faults. He asked one or two questions that weren't relevant, but overall his questioning was really quite good. So it's just a case of...
I think it's overthinking it. I'm overthinking it because, like now, if we were going to do Turnip Road now, I'd probably say to you, but what do you think's two main things you need when we do Turnip Road here? And if you are compliant, you'd probably say, well, clutch control and my observations. That's really all that's needed.
The nice thing is, you can base a lot of your questioning. We always recoil in horror from the driving test. But if you look at what you're being marked on your driving test, control and observation.
It's only two things, isn't it?
Yeah. Accuracy's, So we just talk about it. You're going to be assessed when you come to do your driving test here on your control, your observation and your accuracy. How do you think you might take care of them?
And if you went, I'll say, well, remember what we did in one of the other manoeuvres? How did we keep cars steady? And you'll say, oh, we use clutch control. Well, that's what you're going to do now. Yeah.
If you look at some of the other things, it's all explained in here. They're very clear on what they want. Turning their own control, observation. That's what you get marked on. But of course, if you're not accurate, they could mark you under control. Controls. And it tells you that you're using them at the right time, correctly, smoothly, safely. They're looking for you to control and balance. Use the accelerator smoothly, depress the clutch just before stopping the car. Fairly simple.
Yeah.
So you can base it less than. So what do you think we're trying to do here? Well, do you know how you're going to be assessed on this when you come to do it on your test? Well, what they're looking for is... So how do you think you might do that? So you're just involved in the person. And once you free yourself from the shackles of it all having to be you doing it, things become a little clearer, I think.
Yeah. 'Cause when I talk to a girlfriend about manoeuvres and stuff, she thinks, I've got all these things to think about. And I said to her, I says, well, on certain manoeuvres, I could take care of the observation. You just, if you're a bit iffy with your clutch control of that, I'll just take care of observations and you just concentrate on your control till you get that right, and then I'll put it back to you.
Yeah. But I mean, if you ever look at the stuff we were doing before, where I got too close to that parked car and I braked overly hard. It's very easy to think that you'd get the mark on braking. You wouldn't. You get the mark on that one, following distance.
Yeah.
Because that's what the fault was. It's not that you braked hard, it's that you were too close and that forced you to brake hard.
Because could have asked the question, do you know when you come to a standstill in queuing traffic, do you know what distance you need to keep?
Well, there was the one where the car turned left towards the test centre. I was way too close to him, so I ended up braking hard.
Yeah.
So it's, that's when you ask me, do you think the speed was okay there? Yeah. Yeah, I think it was alright, yeah.
It's because you just got too close.
Yeah. So, yeah, do you think the speed was alright? And 20 miles an hour is perfectly okay for that situation. But so it's just having a conversation and listening to the answer. He thinks his speed's alright there. Well, and this needs talking about. Something the matter here.
So if he says he thinks his speed's okay, would you just think it's not the speed? Is he going to try and trick you? Like you did the other day when you were really... I were perfectly alright to point as where we were going to have a massive argument. Well, examiner won't go to that extreme, will he?
He might. They use stuff like... my case all the time. My last instructor never used to do this. He used to just fix things and then get on with it. I liked him. He's better than you. But he's not going to take it that far. But he's going to resist in roll. And he's never speaking as the examiner, ever. The only time he'll ever speak to you as the examiner is he'll go, I'm coming at a roll. He'll speak as the examiner, and then he'll go, I'm going back in a roll. And they need to do that for various reasons. Sometimes, I'm coming at a roll, I'm going to have to get us out of here. If you've ended up with us an accident, he's going to have to bump up the curb to get out of the way. He's not going to do that in roll.
The first lesson, the moving off and stopping in gear change, if you get that, you'll have to drive them to area, won't you?
Possibly. But how might you sort out whether you're going to do that or not?
By asking questions at the beginning.
Yeah. Are you happy to drive from here? Or you can even ask him, are you going to drive in roll, out of roll? You'll answer the question. They're not going to go, well, I'm not telling you, because it's a secret. It's just, he's just gonna, it's, I keep going back to it, but it's just a human interaction. And if you use the skills that you've got when you're interacting with other humans, it'll serve you well. So, you know, think about that situation where you asked me the question about my speed. And I said, yeah, I think it's fine. Where might you go with that, do you think?
I thought it was speed because we were coming up to them cars, but like you said, you're only doing 20. If I'd have just glanced over and just had a look, and I'd probably known it wasn't speed. It was getting too close, so I'd have to change my line of questioning, wouldn't I?
So what question might you ask? What do you reckon?
Do you think we're a little bit too close to that car when we're approaching?
Well, again, if I decided it was something else, I could say no. So perhaps a little bit more direct question. So we ended up braking firmly there. Why do you think that was? You're not committing yourself to one path or another, but we did brake firmly.
Yeah.
So what was the cause of that? Is it his speed, or is it that he's too close? Might help you find.
So if I say to our examiner, it seemed like we had to brake a little bit sharp there. Why do you think that is? Is he going to ever then, if he says, yeah, I think I did brake a bit too sharp, then you've got to say, why do you think that happened?
And he'd say, oh, I don't know. I said, what do you think your speed was too quick? No. What do you think you were too close to? Oh, maybe it was a bit close. He's not going to commit the fault and then pretend that he's not done it. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's just really listening. What's he saying here? What can I ask that's going to help me find out why that fault happened? So firstly, you've spotted the fault. He's braked too firmly for whatever the reason was. Now we've got to analyse the fault. What caused that? What was that? Now, we cannot afford to second guess here. So we've got to get the information from the source, and that's him. So if you engage him in a conversation that helps him investigate, maybe why did that happen? Then you've got your curative or your preventative or your remedial, whatever you want to call it. How are we going to stop that happening again? And it might well be that he needs a prompt. It might well be that just the conversation you've had might be it. But always remind him. Now, what did we say? You have a meeting, a similar situation. What did we say we were going to do here? Oh, we're going to do that. Okay, let's make sure we do that. And just keep an eye on it. So you're just reminded. Because we are humans and we do forget stuff.
Yeah.
So it's, does that make sense?
Yeah, it's coming together, yeah.
It just takes a little time. It's there's no cloak and dagger stuff here. They're not trying to trip you up. They're just trying to give you a scenario and see that you've got your core competences, if you like. And I think we've always been. It's the one thing that we think that they're obsessed with, and I mean they are to a bit, but we've become overly obsessed with it. If there's something not going right, you need to know that it's not going right. So that's spotting the fault.
Yeah. You know, on the second part when you nearly trained, is he going to ask? Is it unlikely that he'll ask for the full explanation of anything?
It might, depending on the subject. How are you going to know?
By asking, yeah. If he says at the beginning, I'm nearly ready for test standard, but on my reverse park, I'm rubbish. I just can't get me. I go to pot. He could say that, couldn't he? So you've got to ask questions. Why do you think? Yeah. Just to get information. Yeah. And then he might say, if I say, how much help do you want from me? And he says, I want you to talk me all the way through it. Then you just. But if he says, I want an explanation before. Oh yeah, because he's nearly at test standard. You can go for explanation with question and answers, can't you?
Yeah.
It's all about. It is like what you say. You try to overcomplicate it in your head. Just have a conversation about it and try to put it right.
I'm a full licence holder. Do full licence holders not need briefs? Well, sometimes they do.
Will he play a role as a full licence?
They can do. But I've needed to do this. But it's the key thing, I think, is to, again, and we bog ourselves down and overcomplicate things by thinking, he's this, he's that. Just find out who he is and what he knows. So, this is what we're doing today. He might say, that's what we're going to, are you still happy to do that? Yep, okay, what have you done so far you think that might help you here? You might go, don't know. Say, well, okay, if we're going to do reverse park, well, when you're reversing around the corner, do you think those skills might be useful here? Well, I still don't know. You say, well, look, you learned to control the car speed really slow then, didn't you? Yeah, that's important here too. All right, okay. When you were using the steering on your reverse and you turn the road, how did you do it? Well, really quick. maybe hands touching the toe. Okay, do you think that'll be helpful here? Well, maybe. Okay, so here's where we are. What we need to do is, or you might say, what do you think you need to do first? And use it as a question answer. We think that we give a one-way lecture at phase 1 and then question and answer at phase 2. No, find out what he knows, or she knows, use it, and help them to get to where they need to be. It has to be that simple. That they might stand in the way. Just go, oh, I'm not sure, oh, I don't know, oh, I forgot. That's all right, just remind them. And, and if we're making it all about the person that's in this chair, it doesn't matter who they are, learner, trainer, it doesn't matter, examiner. We're making it all about this person here. How can I help this person get to where they need to be? And that simple lesson process, how it works. Establish the start point. This is what we're going to do today. Agree an action plan. Here's how we're going to do it. Taking into account how long you've got, the practicalities of the practice area, that sort of stuff. Decide on the first steps towards it, and then implement the plan. With the help and advice of your driving instructor, put your plan into action. Not your driving instructor necessarily controlling everything. And then afterwards,
on your test as well afterwards, will that be part of your test afterwards as well, to talk about it? Reflect it? Will there be enough time to do all that?
Well, you'll not get the chance to do this bit with this reflective log. There'll just be a lesson lump there. But you'll probably get the chance, you might not, to talk about how it's gone. But if you just build little reviews in, how was that? Okay, you've had a go at that now. How did it feel? Well, it was all right. In light of that, what do you want to do next? Well, can I have another go? Yeah, okay. Do you want to change the level of help from me this time? What? Do you want to try it more? Do you want to try it again in the same place? Do you want to try it again at more testing places? What do you think? So it's... Yeah. And again, you might try turning the road and it might just be carnage. You've got to find out, why is it messy? So it's easy to think, oh, well, we're too fast. But it might just be that we're just doing this on the steering instead of that. Or it might be a combination of all of those. You just said, do you think that would be improved if we did that slower? Well, maybe. Or do you want to try that slower? Or do you want to do some work on your clutch control separately? Oh, I never thought of that. And that's something else we do. We plough on. It's not working. Clutch control's appalling. Well, it just becomes a huge fight if you're trying to get somebody with no clutch control to do a turn in the road. So you break into it and say, look, how about we do some work on our clutch control in a straight line? When we get that nailed, we'll put it back into place. All right, okay. Yeah,
because you just... Everything's bang on. If everything's going all right, you've got a good pupil, it's easy. But if you've got somebody what just totally just fetching that clutch up really fast and you have no idea of it, and you could be flogging a dead horse if you don't adjust your way you're thinking.
And again, it all comes back to this, like, what do I need? How can you help me to do what I need to do? Sometimes that's by taking control. You need to. Sometimes it's by offering suggestions. Sometimes it's talking through. Sometimes it's just letting them have a go on their own and then reviewing. And as long as you review, that's all right. It's not a case of just randomly letting them do stuff and then not saying, okay, how was that? So, in light of that, moving forward, do you want? It might be an idea. I'll offer you this as a suggestion and see what you think. So just put a basic plan of a little, like a flow chart, how you're going to do it, with ways that work for you.
Yeah.
And then we can test bed that. Something to have a think about as part of your reflection. What would you like to do now? In terms of developing some stuff. Turn that back on. It is starting to steam up.
We'll have a ride round and you just do one specific fault. You just do one fault, what stands out a mile.
Right.
And we'll try and do question and answers again and try to find a solution to problem.
Okay. Give me a moment to think about it. Okay. I'll just be Bob.
Yeah.
In roll, off we go. Next road on the right. Next road on the right.
that corner went there, Bob.
It's alright.
Do you feel like you might have cut it a little bit?
I don't think so.
Position. Do you remember where your vehicle was positioned when you turned into that road?
Yeah, it was got it over on the left. There's a parked car on the right, wasn't there? Left at the end of the road.
The end of the road, we're going to turn left. Just out of roll, Bob.
Go on.
I'm in that position now where I'm thinking, did he cut it? Or it looked as though you did cut him. But then I've got to, in my head I'm thinking, is that the problem if I keep ploughing on?
Piece of advice I'm just about to offer you.
Yeah.
Will work a charm for you all the time. Always bear it in mind. Go with your gut feeling. Back and roll.
Yeah.
Left at the end of the road.
The end of the road, we're going to turn left.
Tighten it.
If you'd like to pull up on left, Bob, when it's safe and convenient. How do you feel them last few junctions went there?
Alright.
Alright, what about your speed? Do you think your speed was alright, yeah?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
What about your position as we come to the end? I just felt as though your positioning was slightly out when we were turning left. You seemed not to follow the curb, and you seemed to be about 2 metres away from the curb, especially when we turned left at that one. Why do you think that is?
Oh, I thought it was alright.
How do you think your steering is? Do you think you're putting enough steering on?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Do you remember what your position, when we come to that junction there, remember what your position was? When we come to a junction and turn left, what position do you think your car needs to be in?
I mean, you'd be like kind of tucked into the left, don't you?
Yeah. So, do you know any reasons why you... Because you want tucked in, not left on that one, were you? Did you
Was
know?
it not?
No.
Oh, I thought it was.
No, you're a little bit wide.
Oh, right. Oh, okay.
So how do you think you're going to remedy that? Do you want me to give you some prompts as we come to the next junction?
Yeah, I thought I was doing it alright, yeah. Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, that would be alright, yeah.
What do you think would happen if because we didn't turn to the left enough and follow curb round, if there were a vehicle following us, what do you think he might think if we're positioned wrong?
He might think we're not going left, maybe.
Do you think he might think we're turning right and cut up us inside if you leave too much of a gap?
I suppose he might. I mean, he couldn't have done that because there wasn't enough room, but I see what you're saying.
So, are you alright with that? So we'll have a go.
Yeah.
And I'll prompt you as we're coming up to...
Alright then, yeah.
Yeah, just start a roll, Bob.
Go on.
I've spotted... I know there's definitely a fault that you're not following that curb round, so we did it a few times. Roll position.
So if we look at our core comps, identify, analyse, fix.
Because I think if I'll start with speed. I don't think it was speed.
Oh.
I don't know why I asked that question, but I just wanted to... And then... What did I do with them? Road positioning.
You think it was my speed? Do you think it was my steering?
Yeah.
No.
And then, but when on that last one, it just looked as though it might be a steering because you were really slow with it.
Well, you've gone different this time than the last time. You know, when I was too close and we were jumping around. You've tried a couple of things, which was great, lovely questions, but then it wasn't getting you anywhere, so what did you do?
I started asking over.
Well, you just said, no, well, you were too wide.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you knew you were, you're right, you know you're, well, you're too wide there. Oh, why do you think that? Well, I thought I was alright. So, what can you do about that? Well, look, the only time I'm going to say, you've asked me a question, I can say, oh, I didn't think there was a problem there, but I think I see what you mean. So, I'm sort of on side, but you're going to fix it for me at the next one, aren't you?
Yeah.
And then before we pull away, saying, do you know what's the difference here? Maybe then the penny will drop. And it might not. But that's good.
Yeah.
Did your gut feelings serve you well there?
Yeah, because I knew when we first set off and you cut...
Go on, then talk me through all the junctions.
That first junction was alright, but that second...
Was it? Where was I positioned?
Yeah, I remember you were positioned well to the left. Yeah.
It wasn't alright, was it?
Well, I think it's because I expected something major to happen, like something blatantly where you...
But that could have been as dodgy as hell. I don't look like I'm turning right there, do I? Now, I only did that because there was nobody about.
Yeah, and if you'd have forgot to put your signal on as well and you'd have gone there.
Somebody might have overtaken me.
Yeah.
That's a real dangerous fault. But because it's fairly benign, we don't respond. But you did know, you did spot it.
Yeah. And then when we turned right, it got a bit tight. We got to do meeting traffic there.
I know. I nearly said something.
When we turned right, when you cut, I might have been a bit quick with that because there were parked vehicles near entrance.
No, I cut the corner.
Yeah.
There was no need for me to cut that corner, but I did.
So I said to you, do you think
your position was all right there? Yeah.
Because it's easy for the learner to say. I think it's that type of question. Well, you've got to ask that, and then you've got to ask more probing ones, haven't you?
Think about it though, a real live learner, are they going to deliberately make faults? They're going to do it because they think it's all right. This guy's doing it because, is that not all right? I thought it was, yeah. Why does he think it's all right? Because that's how he sees his dad drive, probably. Yeah. So they're just the things that they see the world around. Do you think it's all right? Yeah. Do you think it's your steering? No. Do you think it's your speed? No. Well, and then you've done the right thing by you could have asked questions to the couch.
It's coming to me now. There's only one real way they're going to learn is by prompting and practicing and having a go at it. Than you just telling them.
Yeah. So I think it's okay. You need to show me now that it's not like do as I say, lad. But okay, as we're coming up here, come on, tuck it a bit more. Come on, get right the way in. Oh, I feel like I'm really close here. Well, have a look. Look, check your mirror. This is where we need to be. All right. Oh, I wasn't this. I'm giving you too many clues here. But and then you'll go. All right. Got you. Right. All right then. Yeah. And then you might have fixed it. And that's how it works for learners. He's doing it because he thinks.
So in your head, then, what fault were you playing on that junction?
Positioning. The positioning junction's terrible.
Yeah. But it could have been steering though, couldn't it?
Could. Yeah, it could. Well, you're quite right. Not wrong what you've done.
It's just finding.
Do you feel in control though?
What I was saying there, a little bit more than before. Because I noticed there's definitely a fault with positioning, but I didn't know if it was caused by steering or positioning. I don't know why I said speed.
Doesn't matter. You've asked me the question, just discount it. No, it's not that. No, I don't think so, no. It's alright. Well, look, there is a fault here. Here's the problem. We need to fix it. Oh, okay. In terms of client-centred stuff, a real live learner's probably going to go, wait a minute, am I a bit wide? Well, the examiner's not really testing if he does that, is he? Alright, oh yeah, to be positioned. Like I said to you before, now why are you not checking that left-hand door mirror? I don't know, is it because I don't see the relevance of it? That's not going to happen, is it?
People ain't going to say that, is it?
I forgot. So, the examiner's he has to test you, and this is one of the limitations of the exam. That he won't let you use that level of questioning to fix the fault because he wants to see the meat and potatoes of what you're doing, and that you can deal with the safety-related issues, and these are important things, and take control of the situation. No, here's what the problem is: we've spotted the fault.
Yeah.
Analysing it, it's probably. But what do you think the problem is here? Is it his speed? Is it his steering? Or is it just his attitude
it's either going to be road positioning. It wasn't speed. It was, in my mind, it's either road positioning or steering.
But
I just thought it might be steering because it was just everything was really slow as you come round. But that might be because you don't know where to position.
Shall we try the next phase of it and see what happens?
What am I doing now? Prompting?
Yeah, fix it.
Yeah. What do you think that guy's going to do there, Bob?
He doesn't seem to know what he's doing, so I'm gonna
might be looking
He's looking for somewhere, isn't he?
Northern gas networks. What do you think could happen when you go past him here?
You might open the door. Yeah. I'll give him a bit more room.
It's like that there. I wasn't going to talk about that, but because it's just normal talking.
Why not? Next left.
Next road on the left. So just watch your road position here, Bob. Just follow the curb round, tuck it in a bit. A bit more. Go on, tuck it in. That's it.
It's a bit close. I suppose I'm not in it, so it must be.
Do you feel like you're still? You look still a little bit wide, but we'll have another go next time and we'll tuck it in a bit sooner.
We'll go
left.
Are you
still all right for me to prompt you?
Yeah, no bother. Left at the end of the road.
At the end of the road, we're going to turn left. Just remember, Bob, when we get to end, we're going to follow the curb round on left, are we? And tuck it in more.
Well, even more than before.
Yeah, tuck it in. Go on, that's it, get your steering on. That's a lot better.
Ooh,
What do you reckon to that?
That feels really close.
Yeah. If you just stop there, Bob, just put your handbrake on a secure car. Just put it into neutral. Just check there's nothing coming. It looks close, but it's still 2.5 foot.
Right.
How do you feel about that?
Well, I didn't realise it could get that close.
Do you want to have another go at that? And do you want me to prompt your?
Can I have a go on my own?
Yeah. Go on. You have a go on your own, and I'll
To the
I'll
next
watch
left.
it. I'll take next road on the left. Some glass there, Bob, isn't there?
Oh yeah. And left at the end of the road.
What do you reckon to that one? It just still looks
Still a little bit
wide.
wide, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, I'll try a bit harder here.
Go on, get your steering on that, but just watch it round to the left. You'll have to be careful here, won't you? Because there might be a car coming. Which there is, look.
Should I reverse back?
Right, it's flashy there, but make your own mind up if it's safe to go. I think he's pulling in it. Just start a roll there, Bob. If you would have had to reverse back, I was going to say, let me put me on the finger. They'll probably know. They'll know you well, won't they?
Maybe. Left at the end.
At the end of the road, we're going to turn left. So just remember just to follow the curb round, Bob.
So what else might you have done in that situation, do you think?
What, in that reverse?
Yeah.
You'd have had to make up your mind whether it's... Like, if he wouldn't have flashed then, there's no way we could have gone up there either, so...
That would go left at the end, I'll pull up.
There'd be no other option. If he weren't going to give way, you'd have had to make sure it's safe before you reverse, won't you?
But it's an ideal opportunity then, isn't it? To help the learner to discover things to do in those situations and how to react to it safely.
What happens if you get into a situation, and these type of situations happen a lot, I'm going to say, you've got right away and you turn onto a street, say this one narrower, and you've got loads of cars on that side of the road, and you turn out of a junction, you've got right away, there's no way that you can get two cars by, and that car what's coming other way is an idiot, a boy racer, he just comes straight up to you. That's the worst, one of the worst situations, because you've got a load of cars at back of you, it's like stalemate. I know there ain't many times when you get that, but
It happens. I sat in on a test when it happened. On a Part 3 exam. Double cars parked either side of the road.
Yeah.
One lane. Car coming the other way, stopped, flashed his headlights. The examiner turns to the candidate on test and said, "What should I do?"
Oh, on Part 3?
I'm sat in the back.
What should I do?
So what should I do here? Similar situation to what we just had there.
Yeah.
And the candidate looked and he went, "Well, do you think he stopped for you? Or has he flashed those lights by accident?" He said, "Well, I think he's waiting for me, but I'm not 100% sure." At that point, the guy winds his window down.
What, the examiner?
No, the guy coming the other way.
Yeah.
And waves us through. We went into the gap, we got about 50 yards from the end, the guy drove into the gap.
So what happens? What did the examiner think of that? There must be a situation where he thinks he can't.
Well, the examiner looked at him and said, what should I do now? Of course, the guy who sat on his Part 3 test was like, "What?
That's just an unlucky situation.
This guy comes and starts beeping his horn, starts waving us to go back. We've come through about 200 yards of traffic. There's no way we can
There's
reverse.
no traffic at back of you as well.
There was nobody around, so, but he said, "Well, what should I do? What should I do?" And this guy starts beeping his horn then. So the examiner just went, "I'm coming at a roll, handbrake neutral, engine off," and out he went.
What, and spoke to car?
Yeah, I don't know what he said, but he reversed pretty sharp. You get these situations. So the problem we have is that we think of these things as being something other than they are. I think sometimes we think, you use the phrase right of way. Nobody has right of way. We have priority.
Because if you say right away,
You take
other
it.
people might think that they've got.
We see right of way as something we can take. Priority has to be given to you. So in that circumstance there, where do you go? Technically, we have right of way because he's on our side of the road.
Going back a couple of months, I was in Sandal, and there were some temporary traffic lights, and they were quite long. And out bend, you couldn't see where the lights was. So coming up to me, it were on green. There were about 3 or 4 cars at back, and I went through on green. And then all of a sudden, one at JCB's backed out onto our side of the road and stopped us. Well, you know what that's going to do. The cars on the other side, when they turn to green, they come. It was stalemate. There must have been, at the right time, there were 8 or 9 cars at back and about 4 or 5 in front, and they were thinking that we come through on red.
It's green, I can go.
And the guy what was running it, foreman, he was just shouting at them saying he shouldn't have come through, and it was just chaos. And I just thought, how do we get out of this?
You've got to make the best of a bad job. So in those circumstances, we might have needed to reverse.
Yeah.
What
As long
if
as
the people's not done any reversing before? What would you do?
You'd have to say, we're going to have to do some reversing here, Bob. I know we haven't done it before, but I'll talk you through it, and I'll keep us safe.
Yeah.
Just make
or
sure. Yeah.
do it from your side.
Yeah.
Just
So
take control of the
I
situation.
could say, you'll just concentrate on your clutch control, like we said, and I'll just concentrate on observations. Will that be alright?
Or you could just reverse the car.
What, and I do it?
Yeah.
But you've got to tell examiner that you will be.
Yeah. Look, I'm going to take. Yeah, I'll take care of this here. Or you can say, look, I'll talk you through it. Just either way, take care of the safety of it, get out of the situation, then have a chat about it.
Yeah.
So what else might we have been able to do there? So you help them to learn how to deal with these situations because they come up occasionally. But yeah, we need to think of it in terms of priority. And green lights mean you may proceed if the way ahead of you is clear.
Would I alright? What we're doing when we're coming to junction, saying just watch your curb on your left now, but that's it. Get a bit more steering on.
Well, I wasn't.
Right?
Well, you prompted me,
Yeah.
and I wasn't doing it to the level you wanted, was I?
No.
I did it, but only a bit.
Yeah, and I
So
said,
you
yeah, it's alright,
do it,
but
do
you
it,
just
do it,
need
do
a
it.
little bit more.
Yeah.
So,
Come on, more. This feels a bit close. Go on, you're all right. More.
and then I showed you. Yeah.
Now, I'm not sure about that because you're at a T-junction. I know we're in a quiet area, but
But open it door and shut. Yeah.
have a look in your mirror. See how close you are, maybe. I mean, it's a useful technique because, of course, the message gets home straight away. But just be careful about where you're doing that kind of stuff. We're at a T-junction. It's a bit.
Yeah, because somebody what's coming up at the back, they might get it wrong. They might
Possibly.
think that you're going to be
You're
stopping
parked,
there a while.
come past you.
You're going to get out.
As it happens, where you did it was fine because there was nobody about. But just be careful about that one. And then, of course, up here, well spotted with the glass. Oh, right tight. So how did that work for you?
Yeah, it's coming together slowly. Yeah.
We've got plenty of time, so it doesn't need to come together in a hurry.
I feel as though I could take that. Like now, we could. If we were going to do turn it road now, and I said to you, but say if we're in road, and I say, what?
Good.
Are you still alright to go ahead with turn it road? What we talked about last week, Bob? Yeah. And you happy with that?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
What skills do you think you could take from any previous lessons into this one?
Well, I'm not sure. It's new, this, isn't it? But
What about clutch control? Have you done clutch control?
Oh, yeah,
Remember
yeah.
we did
I've
clutch
done that.
control?
Yeah.
Do you think you'll need that on this manoeuvre?
Well, I suppose I will, won't I? Because I'll
Why do you think clutch control will be good for this manoeuvre?
keep the car slow.
Yeah, keep it nice and slow, won't it?
Yeah,
So you've got
yeah.
plenty of control. What about observations? Do you feel quite good on your observations?
I think so, yeah. You need to be just sort of checking about, don't you?
Yeah.
For
What would you
people
What would you be looking for when you start to do a manoeuvre here?
well, people coming up the road, I suppose, and maybe pedestrians.
What would you do if we were in middle of manoeuvre and a car suddenly appeared? What would you do then?
Well, I suppose it would depend on where I was. If I was like right over the other side, he might be able to get past.
Yeah, just matter of just stopping in and just having a look, see what he's going to do.
Right.
Like you said, he might just go straight by.
Right.
Yeah, or he could flash his lights, but then you'll have to make your own mind up where if it's safe. You think?
Oh yeah, that's not an official signal, is it?
No.
Right.
Right, how much help do you want from me with this manoeuvre, Bob? Do you want me to talk your way through it, or do you want me to prompt you, or just let you have a go? How are you feeling?
Oh, I think I'd like you to help me a bit.
Do you want me to talk you through it?
Yeah, I think so.
And then if you're happy, maybe I'll prompt you on the next one, or I'll let you have a go. Or if you still want me to talk you all the way through it.
Yeah.
Whatever's best for you.
I think I'd like that level of help to begin with.
Yeah. Just start a roll there.
Okay.
See that bit there? I think that bit. I feel all right with that bit.
Okay.
Did that sound all right? That?
Did it work?
Yeah. Because I felt relaxed then, as if you were a proper learner. I'm still talking. I know you're playing the part as a role of a learner, but still, because I know who you are, I still think.
I think that there's this worry that somehow you're missing something. There's some secret to be gained, or that I'm trying to trip you up.
It's like what I said before. If you've got what it is, yeah, because you've passed your test and you've been doing this for years. Yeah, if I say something wrong, you're going to pick on it straight away. Whereas when you've got a learner in, you know that learner's not going to question. They could do, but you know that if you miss something, they're not going to judge you. And I think that could cause other problems. You might start to get complacent with stuff. If you think, oh, I've missed that, it's a learner, you're not going to know anyway.
Well, I think what we need to do is to not.
But if you see, it's objective to see them learning, isn't it?
Yeah, learning has to
Yeah, if
happen.
they've learned something.
If you've helped learning to take place, and you've made some mistakes along the way, it just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Learner or examiner, it just doesn't matter. As long as your mistakes aren't serious, or like safety related. If you've got your words muddled up, or you've missed a bit out on your brief, or this, that, they're not that bothered about that. They're just not. What they're after is to see that you can help this person to learn.
If I'd have asked you what clutch control, why do you think you need good clutch control here? You said to keep the car still, and then you'd have come out with, but I'm crap at. If you'd have said to me, but I'm really terrible at clutch control and I can never get it right, could I just jump in there and say, well, if you want to concentrate on clutch control, I'll watch your observations for you while you'll just concentrate on that for first go?
You could do, but he's not going to paint an unreasonable picture to give you the learner driver that's not ready to do this. That wouldn't be right. That wouldn't be fair. He'll have the skills necessary.
But
it's a case of then watching what's happening once you get onto the practical attempts at it. Just to sort out the level of information he wants from you to begin with, just by asking questions.
Because if that come up on me, time for me test, if turn it round did come up, and it just come into my head, then what I'd be thinking is, I reckon the fault. I'd be second guessing, but I reckon the fault is, and I sometimes do it when you go to other side of the curb, not knowing where the curb is. Sometimes when I do it now, you feel like you're guessing where it is, or you might just clip it. And something like, if he's struggling to do it in 3 turns, then it's easy to think, it might be steering, but it might not. He might not know where curb is. He might not be going far enough forward. That's why he can't. And then you've got to ask all your questions.
Control, observation, accuracy.
Yeah.
If the car's not under control, he probably can't be accurate. But you can still have it under control and not be accurate because your steering isn't quick enough. So there's many things that can make it go pear-shaped. Speed is the easiest one. If you do it too fast, you haven't got time to do your steering. So it's just a case of watching what's happening, analyse we've had an attempt. How was that? I thought it was all right. Well, we seem to struggle to get the steering on. Do you think going a bit slower might help you? I don't know. Well, shall we try it and see?
Yeah, and it's all right to do these manoeuvres just with brake and accelerator, because car will just keep trundling along.
He'll use the gas on the exam.
Yeah.
He won't give you that. He won't be that learner. Real live learners can do all sorts of stuff, but he has to be able to assess your skills. So he's going to give you some stuff to work on. But he's not going to try and trip you up. That's not what.
And did you say one of most commonest faults is over instructing?
Definitely. Well,
do you think that's because you're just nervous and you feel like you need to get it all out, because if you don't say enough?
Yeah. And then once you start down that path, there's no stopping you. the first thing that happens is these get closed. Once you start talking, you've stopped listening. Because you cannot listen and talk at the same time.
Will that be a different body? Like if you're over-instructing, if he starts looking out at window, but if you're not giving enough instruction, do you think it could have a worrying body language?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, I'm not comfortable with
confused.
You happy with that? Oh, yeah. And I say, and it's, the motion becomes jerky because they're like overthinking. You'll spot it. You'll spot the body language that leads to that. But you've had an attempt. The fact that it's not perfect doesn't matter. What matters is that the next one's better, and the one after that may be better again.
Yeah.
But let's say, for example, that it got worse and then worse again. As long as you're giving him the right stuff, he might just be a learner driver that takes time to get these things through his head. There's all sorts of possibilities, but the only way to truly find out is to engage in conversation. How was that? Well, I think it was all right. I think you asked me to help. How was that? It was all right.
Yeah.
Well, it clearly wasn't.
So say if on my test we got this, what we've just done there, road positioning, and I asked questions and he's still a bit iffy with it, and I said, well, do you want me to prompt you at next one? And he said, yeah, and everything were all right after that. Would he then put another fault in, or would he be looking at his time schedule? Well,
what do you think you'd do? If you're the examiner, what would you?
Is it 25 minutes each one? 25 minutes is nothing, is it?
No.
It'll just go like that. It's probably only going to do.
Well, let's say you've done what you've done there. Do you think that would fix it for that particular learner?
Probably, yeah. Because when I said, "Do you want me to prompt you?" and he goes, "Yeah," then you know that is the fault.
Do you think that learner would ever make that fault again?
Yeah, they could do. Yeah, you have to watch.
Yeah.
No, they could. Yeah.
That's how the world works. Well, all right, I see what you mean. But then they might be thinking about something else and just mess that up again. Don't forget now. Sorry, I forgot. It's fine, as long as you're on it. As long as you don't sit there just thinking, well, he's done that again.
It's that coaching role what you're on about, isn't it? You've got to be coaching somebody else.
Well, you've just got to have a two-way dialogue, really, as to how it's working. So lots of bits and pieces today. So it's again, we're finding our way through it because there's no format for this kind of what we're doing.
That's why I think that when it eventually does come, I'll feel better about myself than rather just me turning up and saying to you, I've got all these things written down here, Bob, and doing it that way, because at least I know it.
Well, this is the whole point of it. You come with a list of things that you need to do. We get them all ticked off, and then you're where you need to be. That's how it works. We're not working at any structure. What we're trying to do is to find a way that works for you, that you can apply to anybody. You've got this little methodology, if you like. Here's the way that I'm going to do it. Okay, this is how I normally approach this. And it might be different the way I would do it, or different the way somebody else would do it. As long as it's effective, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
So in these early stages, we're just putting together the basic skills, and we'll put as much time in it as we need to,
and
just to get it right.
You said you're not keen on reference points.
I'm not personally, but the DVSA are. So, let's the example you gave before. You can't tell where the curb is. I don't know. I don't seem to be able to judge it.
I know, because a lot of these manoeuvres, this turn it road one, I don't have any reference points. I just do it because you know that you can do it. When I do reverse park, I do have a reference point. But if you're doing a manoeuvre and he's struggling to get position, they'll expect you to mention that.
What they want you to do is to help them. Now, if that reference point is going to be useful to him, brilliant. If it isn't, that doesn't matter either. All that matters is that one of the best reference points you can use is letting the car roll forward until it touches the curb.
But you wouldn't be able to say that to him on a test, would you?
Why not?
It's that thing again of it. You think that
as long as the curbs are low and there's no pedestrians about, go on, let it roll. I'll tell you what. Let's let it just gently roll forward till it touches the curb. Then you know exactly where it is. Oh, all right. But you could say, but if you get the bottom of the mirror lined up with the curb, that's about right. Try that and see. Oh, that's better.
Yeah.
Well, real life learners, I just let them roll back. I'll let them stop, and they always stop way too far out. So okay, let it roll back a little bit when you touch the curb. Just touch it though, gently.
So if you've got if you're relying on reference points, if you're driving different vehicles, and if you want, you'd be stuck with.
Bobby Jo Turner, bless her, gave me one of the best phrases ever. Should I just judge it? Yeah. That's exactly what you should do. Just judge it.
But if we're doing turn it round and examiner says, I can never judge where that curb is. You can't turn around to them and just say judge it, can you? Because
no, so I'm having trouble with that. Well, okay, well here's a reference point you can try.
Yeah. Because sometimes I do look when it comes under your mirror.
Yeah. As long as you help them get to where they need to be, that's the important thing. I'm not a fan of reference points because I think it makes you look at the reference point and you've taken your focus away from maybe the observation you could be doing, but you can argue it 1,000 different ways. As long as you help the learner learn, that's all that matters. What we're about here in these sessions is helping you develop a method of doing it, so there's no real clear-cut format yet. We will develop it all, but it's just like, okay, what do you want to do now? What have we gained from that? What have we learned from that? Did that work for you? Did that not? Let's try something different. Which is why we're completely open, or why I'm completely open to you just come with a list of stuff, little bits and pieces you want to try from different roles and this. It's all about just.
I'm imagining myself if girlfriend was sat in there now, and I said we're going to do turn it round, because I know her, I just know she'd be frightened of it, nervous, because she tells me, I've got all these things to think about, and then I won't say, do you want me to talk you through, or do you want to have a go at it? I'm guessing she'd probably say, do you want me to talk you through it? So I'd have to be really patient and talk her through it, and then try to, if she did make a mess of it, I'd probably say, how do you feel that went? Do you want to break it down into different parts? Do you think that'd be alright for you? And I think she'd say yeah, probably. Well, I know she'd say yeah because I've asked her, because she always panics that she thinks she's got too much stuff in her head. And it's just trying to find out what...
We tie people up with too much information about stuff sometimes. This big list of things to remember and things to do and things not to do. Don't forget to do this, don't forget about that. Remember you must do this. Like, oh my God. Instead of just having a go at it, working out what worked, what didn't, and then putting together a plan of action based on what's just happened. And the same format will work on your Part 3 exam. How was that? Well, I think it was alright. Well, it wasn't actually. And here's why. So, what might we do about that? Okay, so this, try that and see. Or he might come up with some ideas. Oh, well, I think it was alright, but it was a bit... Remember, he's not going to be... He's definitely not going to play a helpful learner within role. He's not going to think, unless you're doing well and then you go off the boil, and maybe he might give you the odd prompt. But he wants to see that you can do your stuff. So he's just using the role to evaluate your performance. Your job is to first know that there's something not quite right. Help them to spot that there's something not quite right is the most effective way. Then the fault analysis, if you can get them to take part in that and realise that that's why there's a problem there, then the fix should be the next goal. But you might still need a prompt, of course.
Yeah. And on this Friday with this audit, that's going to be a good test. It's going to be a good tester for me. I know he's watching you. I still can't get my head around how come he's what? I'm going to be like we are now. You're going to be in role, and I'm going to be teaching you. Say if it turn it round, and what's he going to be watching you for?
He's watching to see that I can help you learn.
Oh yeah.
So we're not necessarily enroll for all of the time on this, and we're going to work on your agenda, and that's where the difference is. When we've sat audit tests before, it's all been pre-planned, and it's this and this and this and this, and then this is how it's going to work. Well, we're not following that format.
No. So when we get in that car on Friday, you're going to say, what do you want to work on today, Darren, and all that? Yeah. And then
okay, if we're going to drive through an area, do you want to work on something while we're on our way there? What do you want to work on? And you might choose a different learner. That's completely fine. We're absolutely on your agenda.
Yeah. So when we get, and if I say I want to do turn it round, then we'll end up here, and then I'll say right, and then go through all my stuff that I'm learning about. Yes. Things are getting clearer in my head now.
I'm basing it all on that same principle. What do you want to do? How can we help you to do it? What level of support do you want from me? What do you want about this, that, the other? And then, because it's a very different approach, we'll see how we work.
That's a weird car to be learning, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an unusual one, isn't it?
It's all the other day.
It's a C4, I can't remember what they call them, Storm or something like that. Anyway, let's pop these back and take you for a cup of tea.
Yeah.